Well, it's not your last night, is it? Phoenix Suns, emotional victory last night. Fun victory against the Golden State Warriors. Second night of a back-to-back playing the Denver Nuggets, the hottest team in the NBA, the best team in the Western Conference. Lose by 29, Matthew. And I don't know about you. That literally felt like the longest goddamn game of the year.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad when you have to break out the Bible, give that a quick look to pass some time. Nothing
Yeah,
else
it's
to
just
do.
lulls in this
Yeah,
game.
and then I'm sitting here. I'm trying to refresh the page because I'm not watching for the last 2 minutes. 26 seconds, 26 seconds, 17 seconds. Like, what is going on? Can we just
Free
end
throws.
this? I missed all the fun last night, though. So I'm back on the pod where we were before last game. Basically just losing.
Poor Matthew misses a pod because he's not feeling well. It's, of course, one of those interesting victories for the Phoenix Suns where they upset the Golden State Warriors. And you come back and you get a game like this, a game that expectations much akin to last night, just non-existent. We weren't getting hyped for this. There's not a lot of analysis that really needs to go into this game from a Suns fan point of view, right? There's not anything we're really going to talk about on this edition of the Suns Jam Session podcast that is life-altering, that is season-changing, that is an epiphany on how we can redesign the offense or better attack on the defensive end. There just isn't a lot of that. You know that this is a great team in the Denver Nuggets. That's healthy. A Phoenix Suns team. That's not. That's what happens. You end with a score where the Phoenix Suns, the one thing I was hoping in this game is that they would break 100 again, because last game was the first time all season they broke 100, and they were at like 81, 83 points with like 5 minutes left in the game. I'm like, they can do this. They can do this. They didn't. They scored 97 points.
Yeah, as soon as the second quarter started, I'm like, all right, this might just be a blowout. You were kind of matching what the Nuggets were doing early, but you go in the second and the Nuggets just being so hot from beyond the arc. Yeah. Is that how we're playing the Nuggets?
Yeah, the Nuggets were being the Nuggets tonight, though. I mean,
yeah, exactly. They were just playing their game, nice, smooth game that there's fire from beyond the arc, dude. And we're both we're just I'm struggling here talking to
the most monotone post game podcast ever. Well, the Nuggets were the Nuggets.
The Nuggets. We played the Nuggets, right?
I think it was the Nuggets of Denver, the Denver Nuggets. So we'll talk about a few things on this edition of the Suns Jam Session podcast. So for those of you who are joining us, we appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up button on YouTube if you're here. Subscribe if you're not here. I don't know how you're going to do that. If you're not here, just subscribe. Wherever, just don't get it. Magician, be a magician. Be like Mikhail. I saw something today on Twitter. It was funny. It was like the Suns obviously beat the Warriors last night, and if you go and you look at some like on the opposing team Twitter threads, if you will, you always will find like there's those certain trolls on Twitter, if you will, from fan bases, and I'm talking about the Suns trolls. And they go in there and they post like funny pictures, like you just got defeated by like the guy who, gave a high five to a guy at a place, and it's
yeah.
Have you seen those?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And one said, "You've been put in Macalcatraz."
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's kind of clever.
That's not bad. Yeah. Where did you see that one at though? Where was it?
There was somebody a Golden State Warrior fan who had posted something. They posted the picture of Mikal Bridges after the Suns beat the shit out of the Warriors the second time, and he was doing his 3-point thing right in Clay's face. And it's like, Mikal Bridges will remember you. And it was, they said that before the game, and then obviously that person just got lit up by those Suns trolls who go in there and just, it's like, oh yeah, you got beat by the guy who backs up Chris Paul's backup. It's like a picture of like Dwayne Washington Jr., so it's like, I love those little things. They're always funny. And we see them sometimes on Suns Twitter when we lose. We see them a lot lately, considering all the losing that we do. But Macalcatraz, it's a prison, damn it. It's a prison in the San Francisco Bay.
Beautiful name.
There you go.
So all made up.
So there you go. So again, subscribe, rate, review, all that fun stuff. I'm having a glass of Pinot Noir.
Are you really?
From Tasmania. The island of Tasmania is where this one actually comes from. I had some old guests of mine stop by my new place of business with my old wine purveyor, and they were sipping on some wine. And he's like, "Hey, take part of this bottle home. It's delicious." He always has outstanding taste when it comes to wine. So
sounds really good.
Yeah, I figured I'd go with a nice glass of red tonight because the Suns were bleeding all over the place. So on that note, let's go ahead and pop them if you got them, or drink them if you got them, Suns fans, and let's struggle through this thing. Fuck it. The Phoenix Suns lose to the Denver Nuggets. They are now 21-22 on the season. We'll talk about the standings momentarily once everything updates on NBA.com. But I got to ask you this, Matthew.
Matthew, I got to ask.
Matthew, I got to ask. Are the Denver Nuggets the favorite to win the Western Conference right now at this point?
I think they are by a lot of people. For me, my answer is no. I just don't see it. I'm not scared of this team. I know we just got blown out by them, of course.
Yeah, but we don't have anybody.
We don't have anybody. We didn't have anybody last night, and last night they played nuts. I didn't get to see the last half of the game, but the first half was amazing. The way the Nuggets play, though, very smooth, very nice, kind of gentle, kind of rely on the three.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? So it's a smooth offense out there. It really is. I just see a lot of mismatch issues when we're playing a lot of teams out west. I know they have some size a little bit with Jokic, but Jokic isn't anything to really fear down there. I know he had his way with Sarge tonight, but I don't look
Sarge.
It is Sarge, and he was excited. They were buddies, bumping each other on the butts and stuff. They're having fun out there, man.
Bumping.
They were butt bumping a lot, and they don't scare me like some other teams, like Memphis, like even if you want to say, I don't know, even Golden State, if they get healthy, you know what I mean? Like there's other teams out there in the West that scare me more than the Nuggets, even though they are number one.
Yeah, it's interesting. It just goes to show you, and again, I make this statement fully aware that opposing fan bases most likely said the same thing last season. It just goes to show you that, like, if that's the class of the West still is wide open. If that's literally the best team, this isn't, when the Warriors were year after year after year just dominating this league, and you're like, shit, no matter what happens, like it goes through Golden State. Like, we're not there with this team or the Memphis Grizzlies. They're both tied for the number one seed right now. Both teams are 28-13. So in the loss column, Phoenix is 9 behind them, and in the win column, Phoenix is 7 behind them. So we're 8 games back, and then the 7th seed in the Western Conference at this point. But again, it's a team that I respect them. I will say that the thing that I admire about the Denver Nuggets is something that I admired about our Phoenix Suns last year when we were atop the Western Conference. Fundamentally sound. It's a team that is very fundamentally sound. They play the game the right way. When you have Nikola Jokic as your center and is somebody who is a Mr. Fundamentals. He's kind of like that Tim Duncan type, but I think obviously a way better passer and can shoot the 3 ball. You have to have that level of respect for this team. But until they do it, just like the Phoenix Suns last year, they're not going to put the fear of God into anybody. They just aren't. And if that continues, if the Western Conference doesn't really get that front runner who is just lethal, and you want to talk about lethal, like the Grizzlies feel more lethal right now, right? I mean, they're on an 8-game winning streak. They feel like they have a lot of young, explosive talent. Whereas when you look at the Denver Nuggets, you have a very well-constructed team around Nikola Jokic that complements what he does well.
Yeah, there's a few guys on the Nuggets that you just don't really fear. MPJ, I mean, every time I feel like I watch him, I'm really excited to see what this guy can do. A lot of it's just trying to jack up threes, it seems like. There's not a whole lot there yet, so they're wishing a lot on his shoulder. There's a lot on his shoulders. There's a lot on Aaron Gordon's shoulders. Those two guys, just in a playoff series, they don't worry me. I mean, of course, Jokic can find them anywhere on the court, but if you're talking to me like those are the two guys kind of behind Jokic, that's not scary. Jamal Murray, he's back. He tweaked his ankle again. He hasn't been very good this season so far. It's a new, fresh season for him, kind of a second part of his career, see what he can do after the injury. But right now, he's not looking like a guy that's the second guy next to Jokic. So they have a lot there, but it's nothing that's really final, set in stone in a way to where you're going to look at this roster up and down, but oh, that guy's going to kill you. That guy's going to kill you. It's just Jokic. And that's why Jokic is going to be the guy that's going to win the MVP again, because he's going to have this team on top of the West. But these guys are playing better together. And it is a long season because we're hoping as Suns fans too that our guys get healthy and we get back on track. So they're already kind of flowing, And if Murray does get hurt again, he's out. That's the only guy. But if they are flowing going into the playoffs, they do have a chance to pull some upsets. But I just don't see it until it happens. They're just like one of those teams, kind of like the Mavericks. You know what I mean? Like the way we went into the last playoff series with the Mavericks, like no, there's no way they're going to win. You know what I mean? They remind me of that. And of course, the Mavericks won. So if the Nuggets do win, they did. Yeah. But if they do upset anybody, I'm gonna be like, oh wow, that is actually an upset because I did not see them beating anybody like the Grizzlies or the Warriors in any round of in the playoffs.
You got that badass graphic yet?
It's not working, man. I know what's happening. You know what's happening is
what's happening
when I plug in my computer to my connector of everything. For some reason, the mouse sometimes will not work. It won't click on certain things. And I had to start my computer, and I forgot to do that before we started. So I'm trying to get it to work, but
no worries.
Yeah, it's all right. There's not a lot of
well, I will say that Bees is correct in the chat when he says Denver did what Golden State couldn't or failed to do. Chest us.
I saw that yesterday.
You saw that?
No, I watched the pod. I rewatched it. It was a good pod, man. I was excited because we won. I was like, I was in there for a little bit. Like I woke up and I was like, all right, let me check it out. And then I watched a little bit and I commented. But
yeah. I pulled up your comment. It was just great, just because you had some pissed off Warriors fan come into our chat like they always do. They always show up in our chat and then they just start talking shit. And he said that the Suns chested. And he meant cheated. But kudos to the Jamsters. They just started coming up with the chesting jokes.
Yeah, you can't mess up.
And the guy, he was gone quick. And I love that. I absolutely love that.
Is that when you take a shit on the chest or something?
I have no idea.
You've been chested.
You've been chested. It's like while you're wiping your ass, you're like, you've been chested. Aussie Suns fan. He's like, it's all about the chest. He's like, Gavin's like, although I'm a leg man myself. So when you talk about the Nuggets again, continuing that conversation, you have to recognize kind of one of the same challenges that the Mavericks present, and that's it's very rare that you have teams with players with such high usage rates have success in the postseason. Ryan Russillo did a great job of breaking all of that down entering last postseason. And it was one of the reasons why he liked the Phoenix Suns. The usage rates aren't as astronomical as we've seen from some players. Now, that being said, Nikola Jokic has actually decreased his usage rate this season in an effort to empower those around him. And you're right, Jamal Murray has a ways to go. He's playing better, but he has a ways to go. He doesn't have that killer instinct, and he doesn't put the fear of what he used to be able to do against the Suns, because he was a Suns killer before. We know that. Now, again, tonight, Jamal Murray tweaked his ankle, played 25 minutes. He had 16 points on 6 of 13 shooting. And that's kind of, if you will, par for the course thus far this season when it comes to Jamal Murray. And it's understandable. He's coming off a major injury. A couple of years it's taken him to recover from said injury because it happened so late in the season. But in the 2021 season, the season in which the Phoenix Suns went to the finals, and that was his best statistical season. How many points per game do you think he averaged that season?
Was it 27?
That's what you think, right? You go back and you go, man, Jamal Murray was a beast, unstoppable, yada, yada, yada. He averaged 21.2 points per game that season. And that was his... But again, it's perception, right? Now, part of that perception is the year prior when he was in the playoffs for Denver in the bubble when they went to the Western Conference Finals, he averaged 26.5.
Yeah.
So there's this perception that he is this Devin Booker-esque. He is their answer to Devin Booker. He's not even on the same playing level. So we have this perception because we've played against him, and we know that the way that he performs against the Phoenix Suns throughout his career, it was a running joke for you and I for quite some time because every time we would go to a Suns game, it felt like it was against the Denver Nuggets, and it felt like it was Jamal Murray who was just cooking us. But you look, 21.4 is what he averages against the Phoenix Suns in his career, and it's the highest he averages against one team. So we feel that as Suns fans, but he really is somebody who is going to continue to work himself into shape and hasn't done it either. He's done it in that one playoff run in the bubble, but that's kind of the exception, not the rule when you talk about him.
He really hasn't evolved like Booker either. Like Booker's been, he's been healthy for the most part, kind of. Except for this season, this is probably the longest drought we'll be without Booker. But Booker's had the chance to really kind of be like the Jokic for us, where he is the main guy, right? Jokic and they both got the extension at the same time, basically, in their careers. So they're both the same type of player where they're that leader. They're the face of the franchise. Jamal Murray's a good number 2, but that's what he'll be because he doesn't have anything else. And I think it's because like his growth was just stunted, man, from 100%. Injuries. I think 100%. So. Like ever since we talked about if they had Murray, they would have beat us. Before that, yeah, he was awesome, but we never seen anything since, and it's been forever. So it's hard to even tell. Even the season he's been playing, but when you're looking at the Subreddit stakeout, they're saying like, oh, he finally has like 2 good games in a row. It's like, okay, so he's been struggling. You know what I mean?
And he got that contract after that playoff run. He signed a 5-year, $158 million contract. So he's 31.6 mil this year, 33 the next, and 36 the next before he becomes an unrestricted free agent in 2025, which he'll be 28 at that time. He's 25 right now, and he's somebody who will definitely be have a ton of value in that market. And for Jamal Murray, if he can piece together some quality basketball performances over these next couple seasons, he could potentially become one of those guys who's becoming a free agent at the exact right time when those TV rights deals happen. So it'll be interesting to see over the next year and a half how Denver navigates what they have in Jamal Murray. Do they sign him to another long-term deal? Do they try to stretch that contract knowing that his value will actually decrease when the big money hits? MPJ is the other guy on this team who I just don't understand. He just, again, so tonight, and he's somebody who's had an up and down season. He had 11 points tonight, Matthew. He was 4 of 9. He was 2 of 7 from the field. This team scored 126 points. It was Bones Highland coming off the bench. They had a total of 7 guys scoring double figures. So I get that it was a true team effort, if you will. But, and 21 points and 18 rebounds for Nikola Jokic. But Michael Porter Jr. is just one of those anomalies who maybe it's because when I see him play the Suns, it's the exact opposite of Jamal Murray. When Jamal Murray plays the Suns, you get this aggressive player in the past. You get this aggressive player who puts the fear of God in you. MPJ is just a pigeon out there. I'm just glad that he no longer has that stupid boy band haircut he had when he was drafted.
Yeah, he looks like the boy band leader. He does, and he did. He still does face, the very young face, and 13-year-old boy, girls like those. 16 points a game right now. He's shooting over 40% from 3 this season. Yeah. It's just, I think this season's really a building season for him. He will likely improve towards the end of the season. I can see where the next 2 years he can maybe be like an all-star candidate if he improves, but it's just about staying healthy with him. 100%. So when they said someone twisted their ankle, I thought it was him. I didn't know it was Jamal. So I was like, oh, damn, dude, is he out again? So
it's like, not again. What do you think about Nikola Jokic? MVP? Could he be a back-to-back MVP?
It would be 3 in a row.
Back-to-back to back.
3 years. Yeah.
So only the third guy ever to do it, right? Who are the other 2?
The other 2, Shaq?
No.
Is Shaq? No.
Oh,
hold on. Let me think.
Bill Simmons, I feel like, talks about this a lot.
Was it Bill Russell or Wilt Chamberlain? One of those 2? I don't know, man.
I'm pretty sure it's Wilt. But it's definitely the last one was Larry Bird in the 80s. Okay. He was back to back MVP. So when you see performances like tonight from Nikola Jokic, just an average game impacts it in such a unique way. That's what makes him so impressive. And again, now he's the best player on the best team, right? Like that's the narrative that he hasn't had in his prior two MVP runs, if you will. He's the best player on the best team. He dissects the opposition. It's easy for him. I agree with you. I think that he's the MVP this year. I think Luka will continue to make a push because Luka puts up very strong numbers, and that team is winning games, and that's always been the ultimate challenge for them is they just don't win enough games for him to be relevant enough to get MVP votes. But I think that, again, it's Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, he does a great job with that team. The last 2 seasons, if he's going to win it then, he definitely is going to win it now because it's the same player. I know the usage percentage is down, but I mean, he just is so quick with that offense. Like he knows exactly what to do with the ball. He doesn't take his time. He doesn't waste a shot clock. If he does, he'll jack up a shot with like 7 seconds left or something. Like he'll settle down. If nothing's there, nothing's forming, he'll just jump. He'll shoot the 3, shoot the little fadeaway or whatever, just over anybody. And it's flat-footed. It's ugly, but he'll just throw it up there.
It's effective though.
Yeah, and then most of the time though, he's running that offense to wherever he's out on the court, he's gonna find you, and it's quick. It's like the 0.5 basically, but it's a little bit more slowed down than that, of course, but those guys are cutting at like a 0.5 rate. I feel like they're trying to get open for this dude because he'll find you no matter what.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. You know you're going to benefit from it. I mean, that's the advantage of having him is you're going to play so hard. It's like when we used to have the 7 seconds or less Phoenix Suns. We had so many guys who would come here and revitalize their career, and they wanted to do so because they got the opportunity to play with Steve Nash. And Steve Nash was the unselfish guy who did everything he could to put you in a position to be successful. All you had to do was make the wide open shot. That's what happened. Aaron Gordon is borderline all-star this year simply because he plays alongside Nikola Jokic.
It's like Steve Nash with Amari and Marion, dude. It's the same exact thing.
100%. So I do feel like we need to talk about some members of the Phoenix Suns.
Oh, yeah.
We could do that after a DraftKings promo where everyone can see Matthew's rock hard abs.
Listen up, Jamsters. I know this is a basketball podcast, but the NFL playoff picture is locked in, and my go-to place for wild card round action is DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. To kick off the road to Super Bowl 57, new customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. Plus, all new and existing customers can get a no-sweat bet each day of the wild card round this upcoming weekend. Just place any NFL bet of your choice, and if it loses, you'll get a free bet back up to $10. Action is so good, why not bet NFL playoffs anywhere else? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code TBPN. New customers can bet $5 on the NFL and get $200 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code TBPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
So, Matthew, I'm interested to know what was in your notes about this game. I didn't have a long, extensive notes. I think I took a nap in the third quarter because last night was such a great win, and I was up late because of it because I was all amped up, and then I had a huge, busy day at work, and I'm zapped tonight.
Yeah.
What's in your notes? I have one thing. I want to hear what you have.
It was mostly from the first quarter. After the second quarter started and they started hitting every 3 and we couldn't match them with anything, it was over. I knew it was over and it was expected. But I really just had, the flow of the game. I felt like the Suns, the only thing they didn't do in the first that they did last game, first half, was get to the line because they got to the line a lot last game. Tonight, no, they were too tired. Anybody that was trying to draw contact was Okogie. Okogie was the only guy trying to get physical. He had 7 straight points coming in. I was like, okay, maybe he'll get his 22 like Lee did last night, play a little bit more minutes, but just didn't end up that way at all. That's all I really had, man. It looked like, Washington was out there. He was really careless with the ball tonight. Jock looked really tired. He looked like he airballed that 1-3.
I know.
In the second quarter, and I think that was short, maybe 15 feet. It looked like he was trying to lay it in.
It's like one of the worst 3-point airballs I've ever seen.
That was one of the worst things. I think Saric still had a decent night. Trying to contain Jokic was just difficult. I know it went everywhere there, but that was just like
a lot of notes quarter. You had.
Yeah, it was just the first quarter though. I wasn't.
That's about it, though.
I definitely agree.
I think that this team. The legs were gone. It makes sense. I mean, Eddie Johnson was talking about it. I don't know if you were watching ESPN or Bally.
I was doing ESPN, yeah.
So I was watching Bally Sports because I just can't stand ESPN. Any chance I can. Like last night, I was forced to watch TNT. And it was great because you could tell the whole crew had no idea what to say. They're like, oh shit, we were going to suck the dicks of the Warriors for 60 minutes. And shit, what are we going to do now? Like,
yeah, Steph's supposed to be going off,
Yeah, Steph's going to be going off.
In the corner.
Yeah. And like, they're like, who's this guy? Dwayne Washington Jr. So it's like, I was forced to watch that. But tonight I was watching the Bally Sports broadcast. And one of the things that Eddie Johnson brought up is, he's like, the team didn't even get in till 4 a.m. He's like, and he was talking about how tough it is. And he remembers that those days of having to be at 4 a.m. You get to the hotel. He's like, you take a charter plane, you get to your 3-star hotel. By 9 a.m., you finally get like a quick nap in, and then you got to go to shoot around. You got to start getting ready for the game and everything. And it's just like, that's just the way it is. When you have those back-to-backs, unfortunately, it's just the way it is. And that's why this was definitely this was a scheduled loss coming into it. Combine the fact that the Phoenix Suns had as many injuries as they had, you're not going to be successful in that environment. Now, that being said, what was impressive about last night, and this is where it's like, it sucks you weren't here to have it, and thank you to Dave King who joined us.
Yeah, thank you.
But he was here for a game in which the Suns shot their 3rd most free throw attempts of the entire season and got their 2nd most rebounds with their scrubs. I mean, that's effort. That's what this team misses a lot of time. It's just the sheer effort. So Josh Okogie, effort guy. Torrey Craig, effort guy. He's been putting in some great effort. You take a look at how he performed in this game. Not nearly as effective as he was last night, but he had 16 points and 5 boards. Last night I think it was like 12 and 14. But he was perfect from the field. He was 6 of 6 from the field and 3 of 3 from beyond the arc. He got shouldered. He got chested. Mikal Bridges threw he ran into his shoulder into Torrey Craig's chest. That's what hurt him in like the 3rd quarter, 2nd quarter, whatever it was. The only thing I had in my notes was the 8-second violation. Like, how many 8-second violations have we seen in the past week?
Well, I was going to say the Suns, I feel like I've gotten a lot over the year.
Yeah.
The whole year. It seems like
tired of it.
No matter. Yeah, it's been a lot. And there's a few tonight where I saw Sarge in there. I'm like, I'm sure that's 8 seconds. So 8-second violation, basically, if whoever you're defending, the offensive player, if he's actually in the key with you, then it just kind of goes back to 0, right? Until he leaves, and then you're in there for 3 seconds without moving a foot outside the box.
No, I'm talking about 8 seconds. Not 3 seconds.
Oh,
I'm talking about 8 seconds.
My dude.
Not getting the ball across the timeline.
Holy shit. Wait, did that happen tonight again?
Yeah, Dwayne Washington got one. It's like to open the 3rd quarter or something.
I saw he almost got one, but I didn't see he got one. I must have been reading the Bible.
And it happened a couple times yesterday. It just continues to happen. It's just like, it drives me nuts. And Taddy Mason, one of our elite jamsters, thank you for being so. You can do that by clicking join on the YouTube channel. Taddy Mason says it's CP special. It's something the young guards like Dwayne Washington have picked up watching Chris Paul play. He's like, yeah, he's just going to take all the fucking time. I can't stand that shit. It's highly that's one of the ones where you can reach out to your head coach and you could be like, Monty, you need to fix that.
Ever since I've been here, we talked about everything you want is on the other side of hard. This is hard.
Monty Williams, coach of the Phoenix Suns.
Come on, Monty. Get these guys to get the goddamn ball over the half court in less than 8 seconds.
Yeah, and there are a lot of 3-second violations too, I feel like.
that too. Like yesterday, there was all kinds of dumb shit calls on those, and there might have been some in the 3rd quarter, but I took a nap.
Yeah, I kind of missed a lot. I didn't miss a ton of this game, but I missed a lot of it. I was not really paying attention. I started my notes for the 2nd quarter and it was done. But what I did like was you saw in the 1st quarter that was kind of like last game where these guys they're in there fighting for the boards, but you don't see them until like they jump up and get it because they're so much smaller than everybody else. You got Sarge, you got Craig down there, you got Jock. Even Bismack, like they're not smaller, but they're not. You notice DA right away. These guys are just like spread all over the paint, and then all of a sudden you see them pop up and get a second chance. That's the way it was last night, and then tonight it started out that way too, but didn't end that way. And The 8-second violation, man. I'm sorry, but that's the thing that this Suns team that it owns. The trademarks the 8-second violation. It's our own right now, man.
Well, 100%. Phoenix Suns special, man. Phoenix Suns special. Dwayne Washington Jr. in this game was 3 of 14 from the field. That's pi. For those of you who understand math, 314.
360, yeah.
8 points, and it's understandable. 8 points, 5 assists, 4 turnovers, 2 blocks. But it's understandable. We talked about this before when Dave was on after the Memphis game and how Dwayne Washington had an amazing game and how he's going to suck the next game. That's what happened tonight. So I don't know how much more we can actually talk about this. What else? Here's some topics I want to talk about before we get out of here. Because guess what, Jamsters? We're not going a full hour. I can't see it happening. I'm sorry for that. We can't last.
Hey, well, if like a third of you guys would actually show up, or more than that, we might stick around. Sure. You guys are the always ones that show up. But
I know these are the real MVPs. The people watching right now, it's like I see these names all the time, and I love these guys being here in the chat with us. Saban Lee is a member of the Phoenix Suns on a 10-day contract.
Yeah,
we have 2 Lees now on the team. Number 38, first player in Phoenix Suns history to wear number 38. Matthew, how did you like how it looked on the jersey tonight?
It looked really good, I thought.
It did, didn't it?
Yeah, especially that jersey. And I thought about you too. I thought you were going to quiz me on 38. Like, should I look up who wore 38? I guess it's the first time ever. So you just told me. So
yeah,
I didn't have to do any research.
Time.
No, it looks good though. I mean, his game out there, who knows? He's just filling minutes right now.
Yeah, it's just 15 minutes for the guy. 2 of 4 from the field. He had 8 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists in this game. I'm surprised, we haven't seen somebody on Twitter always start Saban Lee moving forward. He's the answer. Like, no,
yeah.
Good kid. Went to Corona del Sol. So I mean, a local kid was on the Sun squad during the preseason or summer league. He was a summer Sun. So, again, that's nice.
Yeah, in Lely Market, I used to go there when I was a kid.
Lely Market?
Yeah, Lely Market, Oriental Supermarket.
Really?
I used to go there with my friends.
Damien and Saban Lee, they own the place?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they used to run us out of there. So
2 Lees, 1 cup?
Yeah.
And then the only other thing I wanted to talk about before we get out of here tonight and before we let's just give out the Jam Star now, and then we'll have a quick conversation about some other stuff.
Jam Star of the game.
All right, Jamsters, this is your chance to let us know who you think the Jam Star of the game was. Matthew. Oh, we haven't done the subreddit stakeout either. We got to do that too. Wow, so much things, so little time. Who's your Jam Star?
Who gives a fuck? I'll give it.
The number 11. 3 Suns players scored 11 points. Damian Lee, Jock Landale, and Dario Saric. The number 11 is the Jam Star of the game for me.
Okay, yeah, that's good. I'll go Kogi.
Kogi's a good one.
I was throw
and agrees
most
with you.
points. Yeah, 14. He came out 7 straight points.
Kogi led. Yeah. Josh, greatest son of all time.
Oh no, Torrey Craig. Torrey Craig led with 16.
Oh,
and he was perfect.
So close.
But who cares?
So close. Well, yeah, I want to hear what's going on. I want to hear what's going on the subreddit. So let's do a little drop, if you will.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
All right, Matthew. Ooh, who are you? You're like you spun your hat around.
Vanilla Ice, dude.
Oh, doom 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 doom. All
right,
what was going on in Denver?
I wasn't in there that long.
Oh, that's what she said.
Yeah. The fast break. Oh, that's not even part of it.
Wow.
Whoa. Dude, this is probably the worst post-game pod. Holy shit, that pass. The oohs and ahs from the crowd from Jokic. Anytime he makes those fucking crazy passes, man. So blind. And usually I'm always like, who cares? Like the ones from Luka, I'm like, really? That's just a normal pass. But Jokic is like insane. Those are just coming out of a different dimension, going in one portal out another. So yeah. Did Landale just miss that shot by 5 feet? Yes, he did. I think it was more than that, probably 10 feet. Talking about that 3. Murray is really.
He knew I was going to be drinking some Tasmanian Pinot Noir tonight. So.
Oh yeah, Tasmania. Is it from Dracula? Is it from his castle?
From Tasmania. not
Yeah,
Transylvania,
Oh,
Tasmania. We're like the Tasmanian Devils. Do you know where Tasmania is located?
yeah, Australia.
South of Australia. It's an island on the southern part of Australia. I'm sure that Gavin knows
right
that.
where the castle is, where Dracula's from.
Vanilla list baby. That's right. That's right.
There's
Go on.
probably
What did they say about Jamal Murray?
There's probably like an ant castle. Murray is really looking great the past few games. This subreddit was boring. There wasn't anything too
This
crazy.
fucking game was boring.
Yeah,
this is the most boring game of the fucking of the entire season. Denver's a boring team.
Yeah,
like remember when Utah the year before that we had the best record in the league. Utah had the best record in the league.
Yeah,
remember that? They were a boring fucking team.
So boring. Yeah.
And you know what? The Suns were probably boring last year too for people to watch. Like, oh shit, they just win.
They just at least we kept it close to like the 5-minute mark last year.
Yeah, and then we just beat the shit out of you. It was fantastic.
Yeah, that was fun. Bones feeling it tonight. Blowing them out would put them below 500. I'm living the dream. Nuggets fans over there happy that we're below 500, kicking this C to D team we have out there. So
way to beat our G
they
League
still
team.
hate the shit. Dude, they hate us. They hate us. All these fans do. But that's it, dude. I stopped by like the second quarter.
The Suns Jam Session Subreddit Stakeout.
Next game, Friday, 6 p.m., Minnesota Timberwolves.
Look at that graphic. It's the only graphic we put up today.
What do you mean? I did put the other graphics up.
Oh, did you put the other ones up?
The subreddit stakeout graphic was up.
Oh, yeah.
I love the people listening to this. They're like, what fucking graphics, dude?
What
I'm
are you
sitting in
talking
traffic.
about?
I'm in traffic right now. Some asshole didn't use his blinker. He didn't seize the gap. Seize the gap, you
Seize
bitch.
the gap. No one's really listening to this pod by now. They turn it off at least 10 minutes in.
Yeah,
they heard my voice crack
I'm gonna go see.
They're like, I'm out of here, dude.
Like, I'm gonna go see what the PHNX people were doing.
Yeah, like,
Boyd and Lissy just didn't have this one tonight.
I'm sure they're asleep on the couch too.
This will be the one where we get like 3 2-star reviews.
Yeah,
like, dude, come on! How dare you guys mail it in?
They'd be like, by episode 400, you think they'd be pretty decent with this? Seriously, no effort tonight.
Like, geez, you got 407. We still have 40 minutes to go. Yeah, we're gonna get really weird here in a while, people. Kidding, we're not gonna go that far. Timberwolves, we're gonna be playing them. Have you seen their City Edition jerseys?
Yeah, they're very, very ugly.
That's what we're playing.
I don't know
on
what
Friday.
they represent. I don't know that part. So
there's always some long story, right?
Religious or something. Then I'm sorry. They look ugly. Okay, just like I'm kind of sick of the Suns turquoise one. I kind of am.
I am too. They've played them too
maybe because
much.
we lose all the time. Maybe that's why.
No, I think they're they've grown on me, but I just see them too much.
The black ones I like, and they keep wearing those.
The ones tonight, fantastic.
Yeah,
I love these. I really like those, and I really like the throwbacks. Like, we need more throwbacks and less of the turquoise ones. But we're going against Minnesota, and they're going to have their weird fucking City Edition ones that are like white with just like a bunch of like colors right in the middle.
I forget what the colors
was really a bad description. It looks
the colors
like
I don't know what they're from though. Like they're from past jerseys or something. I don't know where they got it from.
I have no idea what it is. But it'll be interesting to see, they're a team that just lost to the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons are a team that is obviously in disarray. They're one of the worst teams in the NBA. And the Timberwolves just lost to them. So who knows? They'll probably come out and just kick the shit out of the Suns because they're pissed that they just lost to the Detroit Pistons. The one thing I wanted to bring up, I saw this on from at the NBA Central on Twitter. Said report, Matthew, report. Denver. Fuck. Detroit Pistons. Speaking of the Pistons, the Detroit Pistons want an unprotected first-round pick and a good young player for Bojan Bogdanovic. Now, if you remember at the front end of the season, obviously they were the team that traded with the Utah Jazz for Bojan Bogdanovic, somebody who a lot of Phoenix Suns fans wanted. They believe that he could, fill a need that we definitely have. Since then, he signed a new deal with the Detroit Pistons that essentially pays him, it's a 2-year, $39 million contract is what he ended up signing as an extension. So he's making $19 million this year, 20 next year, 19 the next year. So he just kind of took his contract, he extended it. Do you think that he is worth to the Phoenix Suns? Would you give up? an unprotected first-round pick and a good young player. And a good young player would be like a Cam Johnson. Do you think that 2 more years of Bojan Bogdanovic, it's worth that?
You know what? I don't even care which Bogdanovic that is, which fathead that is. I don't want any of them for that. So whichever one it is, the one that wears his jersey too tight and he has a hairy chest, or the other one that's just super skinny with a big nose and just fucking is injured all the time. I don't want any of them. I don't even know which one it is.
It's the first one. The chest.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
That's a good way.
Maybe I liked them last year. I'm sick of the trade deadline and hearing about these guys. You know what I mean? We always hear about these guys.
Well, you hear what general managers want. And Dave King did a really good job last night kind of explaining the trade market and how you have 5 sellers and 25 buyers. And that squeezes the market, right? And that's just the way it goes at this point in the season. And I understand that, but he's not worth that. He's not worth an unprotected first-round pick and a good, a good young player. And I feel like the Phoenix Suns, and James Jones probably does kind of the same thing. He's like, Jay Crowder is not worth the chicken scratch that we're going to give you. Ryan McDonough would have traded Jay Crowder the first chance he could. That's just what he did. He used to get pennies on the dollar in the trade. He wouldn't wait out things and let things kind of fall into place and let teams that were desperate be desperate. He's like, Greg Monroe, come on down. So while we can be frustrated with James Jones for his lack of action, you also have to kind of respect it because, again, given prior general managers' performances when it comes to trying to acquire assets that utilizing our distressed assets, we always got chested, if you will. And I think that when you look at that report, I can't think of a team that's going to go, oh, yeah, that makes sense, unless you are like the Nets. And you have some that's where I can see Bojan Bogdanovic ended up is like the Nets because they can give away an unprotected first round pick. They're a team that might go into desperation right now because Kevin Durant's hurt and is going to be hurt for a little bit. Unfortunately, sucks because he's having
just like everybody else. You can't say like, oh, if we would have traded for him, see what would have happened. He got hurt, but like everyone this year is getting hurt. These training staffs suck dick. I'm sorry, they all suck. Like, no one talk about these training staffs?
Well, but see, the way that I look at it when it comes to injuries,
Sorry, that was rude.
Yeah, to every training staff out there that listens to this podcast, they got to be pissed off. They're like,
I'm sorry, guys.
They're like, you know what? I'm going to go someplace that's a safe place for training staffs.
Stop massaging.
I'm going to go to the Aussie Suns fan podcast. They're nice to training staffs. Okay, they might say fuck Jock Landell and say the word cunt a bunch, but they're nice to training staffs. So that being said, I think a lot of the injuries that occur, it's kind of like the NFL, right? Because the NFL, it's like, oh, it's another season. It's the lack of preseason. Everybody's hurt. It's like, no, the game itself has completely changed. And because of that change and the speed of the NBA now, the speed of the NBA is so quick and so fast that people get injured playing at that pace. You know where there's not a lot of injuries back in the 90s? Look at the fucking pace of play. Teams averaged like 93 points a game. It was physical, yes, but it was a different kind of injury. Now it's just like it's a lot of ACLs and ankles and lower extremity things because people are just running their asses off the whole time. It's the same thing in the NFL. Guys are getting crushed out there because the game is so fast. You've been to a game. You've been close to the field. You've seen what it's like. It's chaos. It's chaos. So training staffs be damned. There's nothing they can do. They try to do preventative maintenance as much as they can, but the speed of this game has excelled so much that they're blowing out their legs, they're blowing out their ankles, they're blowing on people's chests. It's all kinds of crazy crap.
Yeah, sorry, that was very political of me, and I didn't mean to come out like that.
That wasn't political at all.
I'm just kidding. I'm not. I don't. No, I honestly do think.
You know what I think about abortion? Those damn training staffs.
They might just do too much with these guys. The compression sleeves and stuff they use, I don't think those work. I think like you're putting pressure on the one that's broken or not broken, but that's healing. You know, freaking
increased
Cam
blood
Johnson,
flow, all that.
Cam Johnson wears those things everywhere, but like the one arm you're not wearing compression sleeve, you're gonna get hurt on that side. Like that's the way it is. That's what I think, right? I don't know. What am I talking about right now?
You're not a doctor. I know that. I don't know.
It doesn't sound like it, does it?
Listen, every doctor that I know doesn't have motorcycles always going off in the background. They don't live outside racetracks. Okay, they live in like the 43rd floor of their penthouse.
They really do. Yeah.
They does.
Nice
They
view of the
does.
UFOs. Yeah.
Yeah, they watch it. They land them. They have them come in. They Landale. So, Timberwolves, though, we'll finish the
Yeah.
pod obviously talking about
Absolutely.
what we decided to come here to do, and that's talk about the Timberwolves. But the Timberwolves entering this game, they're 20-22. They are a half game behind the Phoenix Suns after that loss against the Detroit Pistons, who again are trying to shop Bojan Bogdanovic for a first-round pick and a young player. So good luck with that. But that being said, this is a team that they're without Karl Anthony Towns. Anthony Edwards is a little banged up. You look at some of their statistics, they're a team that doesn't necessarily overwhelm you on the boards. They don't overwhelm you with points. They don't overwhelm you with they're the number one team in the opposing team shooting bad free throws. So I don't even know what the fuck that means. It's like when you go to the line, you get really scared when you're playing in Minnesota or something. But they shoot the 20th most free three-pointers. They make the 23rd most threes. So it's a winnable game, even with a bunch of people being out. Do you think the Suns can actually do it?
Yeah, I think so. I think you can really just put this team down quickly. I think you can get under their skin quickly if you want. The way the Suns,
key.
the way the Suns team, yeah, this team right now, what we have out there, they, like I said before, these bench players always give a fuck. They try really, really hard, and they play smart basketball. Like sometimes it can get a little chaotic, but they know what they're doing. The second unit's good, basically playing as a first unit. So I mean, they can get up. This team will get down. The Timberwolves, they'll get down on themselves, pout a little bit, not get the calls they want, and then all of a sudden the Suns can kind of run away with this. I can kind of see it going that way.
And act like they just hit the Game 7 game winner, and they use a lot of emotion up in that sense. So they're very high and low when it comes to their emotions. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to see this one more than I was tonight. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, this is this is actually, we have a chance to win this one.
Yeah,
for sure. I think.
Although that's how I felt last night, and the Suns surprised me. So, I think that's it. I think that's all I got. I think it's time to go to Betty Bye. Another big day tomorrow. So I just want to thank everybody who decided to listen to this shit tonight.
Yeah. Thank you. Excuse me.
But make sure you subscribe, rate. Don't do any of that stuff. Not based on performance. We don't deserve the likes. We don't deserve the thumbs up. I mean, if you want to give us a like simply because we decided to go on after getting pasted by 29 points on the second night of a back-to-back on a Wednesday in January, then sure, do it. But if not, go chest yourself. We'll see you guys on Friday. We'll see you on Friday. You guys have a great 2 days until then. Until then, I'm Darth Voida, a.k.a. John Voida, a.k.a. The guy who's finishing this glass of wine. Make sure you follow me at Darth Void on Twitter. Go ahead and read my writing on Bright Side of the Sun. I'm going to be putting out a piece tomorrow, giving out some betting tips and tricks for the Thursday night slate on TNT. You can follow Matthew.
Let's see.
You can follow the show at Suns Jam on Instagram, TikTok, and the Twitter. And that's all I got. So time to go to bed.
Go home, love your family.
Ah!